Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're halfway through the night, and in fact, this marks halfway through the Oceanic Nationals season. We now have 2 matches to go for the rest of the night, and we've had some, I think, lackluster results heading into tonight. Obviously, that first match, Okami, LFO didn't look like they were really in it. And backed up with that match just there, it never looked like Noble had a chance in hell of getting their foot in the door, and that full credit to the Knights. But we move on, Raven, unless you'd like to say anything very quickly on the last match.
No, just quite surprised. I'm going to dump Xenox in it as well, because on the reload, Xenox said he didn't see Noble losing another map, so
Enjoy eating humble pie, my friend. Now we move on to the next matchup. That is, of course, Rhythm taking on Ferox. Rhythm have been a team that, once again, we have continued to say will and surely will be down in the relegation zone. However, this season, they have put up some really great performances. 8-7 against Elevate and 8-6 against Wildcard. Both of those matches they lost, unfortunately, and they are currently 0-3. But there is so much hope for this roster.
Yeah, similar position to LFO in that they have not yet secured any points for the season, but they have been so close, like you said. And it's not just the fact that they've had close matches. They've been against quite good opponents. I think the wildcard one in particular of note. So positives for Rhythm coming into this season outside of Six Masters. Keep an eye on Leb and Novakes. I think they had a fantastic match against Wildcard. Novakes in particular has been quite a consistent performer for Rhythm in Oceanic Nationals.
One last thing to note, Stick is going to be standing in for bouncing balls. I'm sure the chat will be very disappointed in that. And so will we if we head to Coast, because he's an absolute menace. Anyway, Ferox is who they're going to be playing up against now. We've seen this roster for quite some time. Shade has been an absolute nuisance so far with a lot of the players. Sushi, Todd, Nazgul, and Oda. A personal favorite, Oda, of course, in the chat once more. And I think to the same credit of Rhythm, Ferox have had their fair share of good matches so far, Raven.
Yeah, and look, I think we wrote Ferox off at the start of the season. Most people were predicting Rhythm and Ferox to be the bottom two, but Ferox have stepped it up. They've had some big matches. They got a big victory over Okami, and they have put up a good fight in almost all of their appearances. So I'm concerned for Rhythm again tonight because they're up against a pretty tough opponent here. As you highlighted, Oda had a very big performance against Okami in particular. So quite a dangerous player to look out for.
Certainly is, and when you look at the teams that they've played in Noble and Knights, 2 of the leading teams in this Oceanic National season, they went 7-5 on Villa against Noble and 7-5 on Oregon. Again, losing both of those matches, but still reiterating the kind of transition they've gone through, if you will, from what was last season to now, not by any means a dominant, but a competitive season, this one.
Yeah, a lot more competitive. And look, it's good to see. I think the season has really started to develop to be quite a flat, more competitive season than we were really expecting, which is great. So I think that makes the stakes in this match particularly high because, like we said, these were kind of the 2 teams that we expected to be down near the bottom. Right now, Rhythm is 1, but Ferox are really fighting for a top 6 position.
They certainly are, and we as commentators, we as storytellers love that. It just adds a little bit of spice to our season. Raven, a big part of our story is, of course, maps. What are your thoughts very quickly?
Look, it's a bit tough to say because both of these rosters have had quite significant changes. I'm thinking Clubhouse could be another possibility, even Coastline, because Rhythm has had some good matches on Coastline. It's something that Ferox have been pretty good in the past, so they're kind of the leading 2 for me.
Let's trickle these up, have a look at where we're going to be heading. I think that is a very fair assumption. Villa being banned straight off the bat on a 7-5 loss to Noble for Ferox, but also taking down Okami 7-3. So you can 100% see why we've banned out Villa so early on. But we do head to Clubhouse. You said that's where we were expecting to go, and well, smack bang.
Yep, we are going to Clubhouse, and we just saw it, but we'll see it again. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup because it's going to favor who can bring more structure. Right now, I honestly feel like that's Rhythm. Ferox have relied on a lot of, I'm not going to call it cheese because it's not just cheese. It's still been calculated aggression, if you want to call it that. But they have generally been a pretty aggressive team. That's what they've worked well off. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm feeling a bit of rhythm right now.
Yeah, the organized chaos that has been their season has, without a doubt, taken some teams by surprise. You can see that in their previous results, and there's no reason why I would not consider this game to be just as close as what the previous two have been for them. The last time these two teams faced off, Ferox did win both encounters. It was Coastline in a 7-8 and then Clubhouse in a 4-7. So I have hope for both of these teams. Now, Ferox obviously already having a win on the board. It doesn't by any means give them a little bit more room to breathe because they still have Elevate, Wildcard, and LFO to come up against. But this is a really big match for both of these teams. This is the match that we have been talking about. Well, these two teams have been the teams we've been talking about as the relegation playoff teams. Now, at the moment, Ferox are just on the outside of this, but this is a massive game because if Rhythm don't take points here, they then go up against Noble, Knights, and LFO. So this could really decide the season for these two teams.
Yeah, I think this is very important for both teams, obviously, but in particular Rhythm, because without getting a win here, it's the same scenario as LFO. They will need to be perfect in their final 3 games. So if they get this, it really activates that option to be able to get into the top 6 with a bit more comfort. Yeah. So I think Rhythm are going to come out fighting pretty hard. I mean, of course, Ferox are as well, but yes. Yeah, I think this is going to be a close one.
It feels like Rhythm are with their backs up against the wall. Like Ferox, they do have a little bit of room to move here, but this one really, for me, this is reliant purely on how confident and how comfortable Rhythm decide to play this game. The past 2 games, it felt like they were free as a bird, and I mean that in every sense. Obviously, Coastline is a map that is notorious for being a little bit cheeky sometimes, and I think Bouncin brought a lot to that in their game against Elevate, obviously going to full regulation with Wildcard and into overtime after that. I think that they are very well known at this point for really causing those upsets and just making teams extremely unsettled. I think this may be the opportunity. This may be the point in which, you know, if Ferox don't turn up in the first couple of rounds and Rhythm get on a bit of a roll, I really do see this going the way of Rhythm, to be brutally honest.
I kind of agree, especially after Wednesday's game. I think in my snowball predictions, I went for Ferox, but same thing. I've flip-flopped halfway through the week with my workplace predictions with Yubi. I've gone for Rhythm. So it's another one of those games that could go either way. I felt that with Knights and Noble as well, but that actually ended up being very one-sided. So we might be seeing that again.
I would hate to see that again, but you talked about snowball predictions. You talked about your predictions. Let's have a look what the snowball panel thinks. And everyone has gone Ferox here. And I think after the game against Wildcard on Wednesday, again, just to give context to this, we have to decide these at the very start of the week. So had we have been able to potentially change, we may well have seen most of us turn camps and be that double agent for Rhythm, because they were very convincing, in all honesty.
Yeah, look, they looked good against Wildcard. Even against Elevate, they looked pretty decent. Elevate did have patches where they were struggling, but Rhythm just looked like a completely different team compared to last season when they were Kanga. It's hard to base a lot of these predictions on the perception that we've had from them from last season, just because it just, honestly, if you took away all the names and you had no idea who they were, I would never have guessed it's that same team.
No. And I'm not going to lie, I'm having an absolute shocker in predictions this week. Well, at least on Friday I am, because I'm currently 0 for 2. And I do have this inkling Rhythm are starting to claw back their season. And I am extremely worried I'm about to go 0 for 3 this week, Raven. But I think we've been talking a fair bit about Rhythm because of the fact that they have had these past 2 matches that have been extremely close, and, you know, like, we are trying to build that storyline because it is deserved. Both of these teams, in fact, deserve that storyline to be built for them, that on the back of last season, which was without a doubt a little bit more of a lackluster season, they've both come out firing. They've both come out just absolutely swinging. And this right now, I think that Ferox have out of the two teams, I don't want to say they've looked the more consistent, because if you look at the scoreboard, you'd kind of be like, oh, but Elevate and Wildcard. However, I am really basing this on the performance of the teams that Ferox have had to play with Noble Knights and Akami. So there is a feeling that this one, I don't want to repeat what I said last game purely because of what happened last game. But this really does have the potential to go all the way.
I think it does too. It really feels like it's going to be close, and Clubhouse does add a whole extra dimension of how this might play out, because I think it's going to favor structure and teams that are really good at adapting. I don't feel like we've seen enough of either of these teams, their current forms, to really get a good gauge on that. Ferox have had some good matches where it's like they've adapted really well to how to counter their opponents, but solve Rhythm. So yeah, it feels like a 50-50 for me.
Would you say that the kind of the win condition might be the ability to adapt and not be so stupidly stubborn?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Well, there's only one way to find out. That is to head into the match. Clubhouse, Rhythm taking on Ferox. Both of these teams, of course, in their own right, have an equal opportunity of grabbing the 3 points here, and they will need to. This is the halfway point of the season, and it is time to decide who will be sitting down at the bottom of the table. The bottom two, as a reminder, the bottom two teams will be going to a regulation playoff in which they will have to play two teams from an open qualifier, if I'm not mistaken. So that is obviously quite a huge factor to take into consideration when you think about the impact of this match echoing throughout the rest of the season and potentially next year.
Yeah, big factor. So a lot of pressure when it starts to get to this end of the season. Of course, it is a short, condensed season. So every match really matters, and it's getting deeper and deeper. It is more so the case, especially for a team like Rhythm. No wins at the moment. Really something they're going to have to pull something out of the hat to avoid at this stage. Some interesting bans. Seeing a castle ban in particular on Clubhouse, not something you see a lot of, but it is a good ban because it does facilitate, especially for a church roam, quite a lot of safety.
And Rhythm, anyway, have been quite well known for their roams in the past two matches on Coastline. Obviously two different maps, but still potential for those roam heavy plays, like you say. The castle may potentially give them a thought as to otherwise, but we will be heading down to the basement for that first round.
Yep, well, definitely a favored bomb site for most teams on Clubhouse. Not a bad decision from Rhythm. They we'll see how they hold it. I'm not expecting a roam again because that castle has been banned out. It's doesn't seem likely. Of course, Thatcher is on the board again. So this is actually two Clubhouse maps in a row now, Rob, where we're going to be seeing Thatcher available.
That's surely an interesting statistic to have a look at when we look at the wider season, especially pointing toward this Playday, and whether Rhythm are going to double down on whatever strat they may have, and in the second half potentially not even look at bringing the Thatcher. The community vote, by the way, 65% to Team Ferox. I think that is, you know, the general consensus. If it had not have been for the 8-6 against Wildcard on Wednesday night, I think that would have been completely warranted. But now that we're heading into tonight, there is a feeling, there's a bit of a vibe around Rhythm, and this could potentially be the start of something new for them. I was about to crack into some High School Musical there, but I thought I better not. I best hold
maybe
back
not
for now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not the right audience.
Subject our viewers to.
Not the right audience.
Absolutely not. We'll see what Ferox have in store for us on their attacks. At least they are very stocked with hard breaches, having the Habana and the Ace. They are bringing the Thatcher, which is something we were criticizing Noble for that previous game, omitting it. So they have brought that now to make it just a bit simpler. So things like the Kai Electric Claws on these hatches isn't going to be particularly complex. Throw the EMP at it and then get to work.
One thing to note from that previous match, obviously having Sledge and Buck being banned off, it seemed like it had quite a large impact, especially on Noble. So we'll see how both of these teams decide to deconstruct the sites. There is that dreaded angle that I'm sure Nico will have flashbacks from for many years to come.
Yes.
Oh, a whisker off it.
Very close. Gonna clear this Banshee with this frag grenade from above, and right now this has been a good clear from Ferox. They've obtained a lot of good map control. Verticals, open that kitchen hatch as well. So right now, not a whole lot from Rhythm's defense that has derailed Ferox's progress.
One thing that definitely has surprised me, straight off the bat anyway, is the lack of roam from Rhythm. And with that, it's really allowed Team Ferox to run amok for now, at the very least. We do see at least one of the Rhythm members getting a little bit more aggressive. I believe that is Stick. Now, Stick is the, from what I know, is the sub for Bouncin', so he could potentially play a huge role in this as Shade finds the opening of the round.
Yeah, but completely unwatched is the flank. Very surprising for a Church defense is that is not Claymored at all. Sushi's down on site for a plant as Leb picks up Todd. Makes it a 4 versus 3, but it is going to be post-plant with Shade holding from kitchen hatch. Going to be difficult for the defense.
Sushi in an extremely tight corner right now as Oda and Shade pick up one apiece. Oda does go down in the end from Drex. Leb and Drex left with it all to do. Trying to clear out Kitchen as he comes around the corner, but Shade will win the encounter, and it feels as though there's little less than nothing to do here for Leb. Maybe if he hits that shot on the hatch to Kitchen, he'll give himself the opportunity, but Sushi won't let him get past that first hurdle. It is round number 1 going the way of Team Ferox.
Yeah, look, it was a good plant, a good attack overall. Like I said, there wasn't much from Rhythm's defense that really derailed the progress of Ferox, and with still 40 seconds to go, Sushi was just down on site planting. No denial from Rhythm at all, even though they had man advantage at that point. So something that they will have to tighten up.
Potentially tighten the ship, make it a little bit better for them. They'll be off to the sea and sailing away in no time, but it is not the most promising of starts. And knowing Rhythm, though, everything changes on a dime for them regardless. But without a doubt, it's... I mean, look, if we're going to completely give it a clean slate for this season and we only look at the results of this season, the only team out of these two that have played in an official in OCN is, of course, Rhythm in the opening Playday, where they unfortunately were taken down 7-3 by Okami. So, and I think there were a few issues with Rhythm's playstyle at the very least against Okami, who just seemed to be all off and firing. But that again could also have been as a result of potential hype man Specker, as he seemed after the game anyway. But back to this game, Raven. Ferox with a convincing start, as we now call upon Rhythm to potentially make this a little bit more tidy.
Yeah, again, they'll just want to be staying in touch with Ferox, not letting them get too far away. So far, Ferox are not slowed down by it too much. They're going to be able to get pretty easy control of this wall, I reckon, with these EMPs coming out. Shouldn't be too hard to trick this and let the the Ace open that wall. That's where it's going to happen right now. These Selmas are popping out. They're going to open lines straight away. So, again, a great start from Ferox.
Yeah, Leb wasn't really left with any choice there, so he'll just pull back to Con and drop his charges with Boots looking for the extended, well, it's an extended hold from Cash, if you will. Deployable shield, just giving him enough room to at least try to contest anyone peeking on the angle. I don't know how much they've really got to get rid of that, and that's some good use of ensuring that those Habana pellets, the ex-Kairos, don't give Novaics too much grief. It is still a very small line in that could potentially play effect in the later parts of this round.
It really just line of sight. Oda with a great nade though does take out Stick. So it does make a 5 versus 3 now as Nazgul finds 1. Again, with still a minute to play, getting aggressive was Noveix to no avail at all. Still a whole minute to play, Rob, and there is only 2 Rhythm players left alive.
Just doesn't feel doable even slightly. Maybe if this was at the 22nd mark, you could potentially try to sell the story, but with only 2 Smoke Babes left to deny that plan, to try and force Team Ferox into a tighter situation, tighter timeline, it does not feel as though that is going to play a deep of an effect. They do still have that red control, so at least they can feel comfortable knowing that there's no one behind them, for now at the very least. And with Drex just going for those peaks, he knows Con is clear. Too little, too late by the time that Smoke Babe comes out. 2v5 post-plant ensues.
Yeah, again, just no denial coming out at all. Prompt enough. Ferox closes out the round after a safe plant and a solid attack. They're looking pretty good on Clubhouse at the moment, Rob.
Certainly are. So convincing, both of these rounds. I believe that was only 1 player taken off the board. We're now headed to round 3 and they are off and running. This is very reminiscent to a match little less than 45 minutes ago, Raven. It does feel as though Ferox have gotten off in the exact same way that the Knights did, with 2 very, very stylistic rounds, if you will.
Yeah, Rhythm are going to have to just dig a bit deeper and figure out what's going wrong here. They're going to be back down to church at least, so repeating and something they can try and refine. The first time they held it, it's not like it was terrible. They even had a man advantage when plant was going down, but they're just not being snappy to deny, or they're not really pushing back enough where Ferox is strapped for time. So it's just something that they need to fix.
Do you think potentially a roam could dry Ferox a little bit more of that time, Raven?
They could try, but without the castle, it's a bit tricky. I mean, like, it's not impossible. They could definitely do it, but it just does make it a bit trickier. I think it's probably the time where they should just be trying stuff anyway, because Ferox are looking very comfortable in these attacks. Like, they're just taking map control so easy.
And effortless is a great way to explain that, to be honest. Kind of feels like it has just been a breath of fresh air from Team Ferox, and I think that kind of sums up how their season's gone so far anyway. They've done extremely well in realistically taking every team to their limits and pushing them and ensuring that there's no easy game and there's no easy loss, which potentially may not have been the same for last season, but new year, well, it's not even a new year, it's just new season, new me. And at the moment, this could potentially be the game that solidifies them out of that bottom 2, which is just massive.
Yeah, pretty important. Good info gained by Noveix here. Goes for the C4 and hits the dunk on Oda. So that's going to be him out of the board, and a lot of soft breach and renovation potential not going to be available for Ferox now. That's definitely a big help. That's a good pick from Noveix. And a good start to this round.
Well, it definitely means they've got a lot more comfortability, if you will, in that area in Armory, which they felt like was somewhat of a weakness in the previous round. Leb now looking to waste those X-Kairos as much as possible. Doing a great job of denying pretty much anything that Ferox are throwing at them so far.
Yep. That hatch has not been opened particularly easy, and that last impact coming out is going to deny those X-Kairos, so I haven't been able to keep up with how much hard breach has just been destroyed on this hatch, but it has burnt a lot of usage.
Team Ferox a little bit unnerved, if you will, after Oda falling there from the early C4 from Noveix. Do have dirt open, and Nazgul will be live droned in. However, Drex on the close angle. He could potentially swing here, which he does, and he can't find the shot. Unfortunately for Rhythm, they now lose a little bit of control there and the smoke as well, and potentially no smoke babes left to deny the time for Team Ferox.
Yeah, big question mark in my mind. Use the smoke babes when it's such low time. Smoke them out, make them have to push through. Bit of a misplay there. Ferox, though, 4 versus 4, looking poised to attack as Shade gets no Vex.
Big trade as they do manage to drop 2 players. In fact, Shade does get brought back up, but for how much longer? That's the question. Lead goes massive. Nazgul now is called upon. He can't get enough done. Stick, he's come in as a sub. Shade in the last second of the round saves it for Team Ferox to ensure their 3rd and consistent round in this match of Clubhouse.
Oh, quite the misplay from Stick. Not sure if there was a bad call or something like that, but he had all the time in the world. It was about 2 seconds left on the clock as he started moving. Shade hadn't started planning yet, so he could have just waited for 0 to force that out. So unfortunate, felt like that was going to be the one for Rhythm, but now they're facing in a 0-3 deficit.
I'm getting flashbacks to our game prior, and Ferox, honestly, they will be very happy with walking away with that round. Like you said, Raven, with how much denial they had on Hibana and Ace, it just felt like Rhythm had done so much work. Shade obviously coming in massive at the end there, but there's props to the opening. I believe it was Leb who stood up and found himself a 2K as they tried to funnel through Armory. And with that now, they will be kicking themselves to an extent. However, they don't have time to dwell on it. They have to move on. And so they do to bedroom and gym.
10 seconds to insertion.
Overall, really is feeling very similar to the match we just saw between Knights and Noble. You know, Knights shot out to a quick 3 lead, looked very much in control of the game as well, and that's just exactly what we're seeing from Ferox. Maybe it's just something to do with Clubhouse tonight. There's something in the air, man.
Honestly, wouldn't surprise me. Sometimes it just goes that way. And again, so is the way of this format. It is brutal, Raven, and it does not give a lot of... It's I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. It's really not an easy place to try and be if you are on the bottom of the ladder fighting your way through. You just don't have the opportunities that you had last season. It's so much more compact. It's so much more brutal. And Vex, he's not interested in holding on to Jacuzzi wall. And he will back away into bathroom. Still has 2 charges left as well.
Yeah, and this is just, again, the story of all these attacks is that Ferox has been able to get the critical walls open and make good progress just so quick. That is open within a minute. They can put a lot of pressure now in towards site. These EMPs will easily disable these bandits, and Selma's going to open that. So bathroom is going to be tough to play. So again, Ferox is being very good with these attacks. Oh!
Catch that, Shade. Playing a bit of baseball with Novax. And now stuck in the corner of bathroom. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're going to have to drone this. Surely they won't just try to funnel through Jacuzzi. They had already previously droned out Jim, and it was clear. Now Vex, there we go. He will be spotted. Does he have someone there to support him? As they do look for the wide swing, he'll find himself a second, and they will be kicking themselves. Nazgul wastes no more time in just deleting boats off the map. He's benched for this round, and a minute left. It's been quite explosive the last 30 seconds, Raven.
Has 3 versus 3, but again, this map control with still a minute to go has just been such a strength of Ferox's attacks right now. So it's going to be very tough, in my opinion, for Rhythm to be able to hold this, because they have to consider this retake. And almost the whiff from Todd. Well, in fact, it was a whiff. Stick on 1 HP. 40 seconds to go. Still so much time for this attack to be able to stick this.
Such an awkward position for Oda to be trying to fight. Obviously, you can see the legs, and the second Nazgul peeks out. An absolute dome of a shot Oda, though, still with something left in this game, in this round, rather. There's the smoke bait, and that will be enough to secure Rhythm their first defensive round in as little as 4.
Honestly, I thought with the control that Ferox had, they would have been able to get that down with not too much trouble, but I was wrong. So that is great. I'm glad to see that Rhythm got a round back, honestly. I want to see this get close. So this is maybe the comeback train that we need, Manic.
Yeah. Choo-choo. We're all on it. Not really. Not yet. Not convinced when it's Novakes with an opening double in Thatcher and in Shade, I guess. Sorry, Ace. That from Nazgul, though, I thought that may have been enough. Like you said, Raven, potentially that could have been a big game changer, a round changer even. That may have really given them a look in. But we can move on now and we can hold hope for Rhythm's first half. A defensive side that has looked shaky on Playday 4. Thus far, anyway. Anything can happen.
Very true. So let's see what they can do on CCTV Cash. Last time, of course, they struggled. It was a good attack from Ferox. They cleared out the rafters and garage pretty quickly. And it was, again, a completely undenied plant in the default spot. So it's just some small things that Rhythm really need to start getting on top of. They seemingly have been better those last couple of rounds. So hopefully we're starting to see a bit of an upward trajectory here.
Ferox quite well versed with their Zafia denier anyway, ensuring that Leb, or really anyone on that bandit, doesn't have an opportunity to bandit trick. Potentially this may be the play here to ensure that they can't deny it fully, Raven.
Yeah, see whether Leb does get this trick on, but no, just the, again, utility usage from Ferox is just enabling them to get these things done so quickly. And they got both sides, in fact, open with those Selmas, so that is a gaping hole for that defense to have to worry about, and it really does enable that default plant. Now all they need is Novakes to be gone from these rafters.
And they were pretty much given it for free last round. It was Novakes that jumped over the ledge. Now needs to be very cautious of this tight angle. And still, I believe they are opening underneath him in garage as well, so they will be able to apply pressure from 2 points. Leb, he's getting pretty hungry right now, but Nazgul is watching that line directly. Is he going to be able to deny that? The shoot? Oh my! Okay,
no way.
okay, Todd. Fair enough. 1 HP, he gets away. I could only imagine the comms from Leb right now. You'd be furious.
Yeah, that wouldn't feel too good. Very risky play. Nazgul with a tight angle into Novakes clears out that rafters position. So it is looking good yet again for Ferox on these attacks. Shade is coming from just the other side of the map here. Might be able to catch a player off guard. That is Stick in Lounge currently.
Textbook from Nazgul on that clear in the rafters area. Stick, unfortunately, aiming down the sight, does not see Shade, and it is a free kill. And it really, there has been no momentum brought from the last round to this round. Drex is still alive. They still have 2 opportunities to deny with the smoke babes and also the C4 on boats. And they could well do this for some time. There is only 30 seconds left on the board. Todd taking down Drex, though, you would have to imagine that that's the round done and dusted. That it is as well. And Team Ferox, well, they bounce back directly after their previous. Not interested at all.
No, quite a dominant round. It ended up being flawless in the end. Rhythm just not able to deal with some of that progression and aggression from Ferox. Being very good right now. I think the Rhythm, if they're able to hold on to a 4-2 half, maybe not so bad, but it just feels like Ferox have so much control in this map.
That would generally be the assumption, and I mean, even if you just looked at the scoreline, let alone not being able to have watched, like if you just tuned in, you would have been like, yeah, Ferox are, they're holding a pretty heavy foot in this one, but the way they've done so has been nothing short of impressive. A shutout on the way, and all the hopes we had for Rhythm could be crushed. But we love this tale of two halves, Raven, and it really is possible, especially when you look at a team like Rhythm and you look at what they can do, the kind of sorts that they bring to these kind of games. There is still belief, but how much belief?
10 seconds to go.
I can't really be honest at this point.
I mean, I would feel more confident in agreeing with that if it felt like, or if Rhythm were rotating into their defense half. The fact that this is their defense half, I think is quite concerning for me, because, I mean, if there's a half that's going to have more mistakes, it's usually going to be your attacks, because this is so much more that you have to be able to coordinate for things to work. I mean, I could be wrong. They might really feel confident on their attacks in this map, so we will have to see what happens in the next half. But right now, I think it is desperate times. They need to get this round.
You obviously question Drex in the dirt tunnel position in the previous round, having those smoke babes and not denying that player from coming around the corner, instead trying to fight with the shotgun, which close quarters you would generally back, but it's still extremely dangerous when there was 30 seconds left. So we'll see how they decide to hold, if they decide to hold dirt, which it does look like with that ADS deployed. Drex will hold from a very similar line, and also a Banshee as well, so a lot to slow down the push from Team Ferox should they decide to put any pressure in dirt, Raven. But the big one for me was Oda falling so early, and I doubt they will allow this to happen again.
Yeah, it's important that they don't lose Oda early. I think on top of that, with that dirt push last time, Drex just needs to be happy to use his smoke babes more to repel that push, which looks like, I feel like Ferox are going to go for the dirt control again, because it's definitely very effective. Slowing down a little bit, they haven't had as much progress as we've expected or come to see from their previous attacks. They're starting to make work onto these onto the kitchen hatch now, but Rhythm have been pretty good at tricking these.
They certainly have. Oh my, they are very sharp with their denial, and I feel like Team Ferox just haven't, well, I was going to say haven't done enough to make Rhythm uncomfortable when trying to go for that. Novak's taking down Oda once again. Will have no impact from the 1 minute mark. Shade just catches out the feet of Novak's. A big trade to come in as we see a 3 versus 4 Raven. 40 seconds remaining.
Yeah, look, they did well again to trick off a lot of that utility, but still sounded like it got open with that last set of X-Kairos. Ferox are looking confused. Nazgul is just running all over the place. There's only 25 seconds. You got to get close to the site. I'm going to start to push down the main stairs. Kit with Sushi. Let's see if Ferox can get this plant down in Arsenal.
Well, they've just dropped straight through the hatch, and Boats was able to at least catch Nazgul on the rotate through. And Shade just missing those shots as he made his way back around for Blue. It was a big trade from Todd. Only 3 seconds left. The bomb's not down, rather the diffuser even, and there is no chance that they're going to be able to bring that one back. Rhythm, they managed to shut it down on that take, and they give themselves a glimmer for what will be a second half. We expect a lot from the defensive side of Rhythm, of Ferox at this point.
Yeah, this will really be the interesting thing to see here is, can Rhythm have as much effect in their attacks as we saw from Ferox? So I'm a little skeptical at this stage. Rhythm just haven't felt very in the game. Even that round, they really just hung on. Came down to a 1v1 basically.
Definitely hold on a knife's edge. Now,
Attackers need to locate and
let's see what this brings. Let's see if Rhythm have what it take on their attack. You're a little bit more so skeptical after their performance in the first half, and I'm sure they won't be taking this lightly, as there is still a serious chance that after the performance we've just seen from Ferox in that first half, as you mentioned, in that what was basically a 1v1 toward the end, this really could continue to steamroll Rhythm. Once again, Ferox do see that extended hold into Cash.
5 seconds to insertion. Jammer ready. Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Go on.
Shade.
You wouldn't do it.
Oh. yeah, go on, Shade. I was literally going to say, Shade is the one you have to keep an eye on, man, because against some of these other teams, he has just been all over the place and been able to get away with obscene things. So this is definitely a danger zone for Rhythm, and if they can contain Shade, well, I think that's one tick in the step forward.
Yep. Win condition, check Shade. Every time.
Legit.
We laugh, but we are 100% serious in saying so. He can be an absolute menace for the attacking side. 45 seconds gone as they start to slowly and surely put the pressure to Cash, with Todd just holding on the other side. Looks like he will have the support. Shade nearly caught out on his rotate down blue. Gets away for now, though.
There's really not much. I mean, it didn't look like there was really much holding sight right now. If Rhythm were to drone through, they could just push, honestly. From what I could see, at least, anyway. Shade is going to get some pot shots off into a player running up the rafter stairs, but not going to secure it. Looks like some players have got back to sight as well. Sushi is just playing around the con door into Cash. But again, there's just so much control around CCTV. I'm surprised they haven't been able to flush Todd out. He's finally punished. So now they've got this man advantage. They can push through and start to pressure side.
That could have been huge from Todd. They literally had just cleared CCTV, and he was not expecting the player to be vaulting through the window. Nevertheless, it is now a very good start from Rhythm. And Shade from underneath, what will he be able to get as he makes his rotate back up the main stairs? And Ferox now, they come together for a quick huddle and decide what the definition of the hold will be.
Oh! Nazgul with a quick double, though. Not watched at all from the hatch, so he just pushed deep into logistics. Still a man advantage for Rhythm. 2 to find. Shade is still up on the board there. He had a C4 pre-placed in logistics. Not sure if that got blown or not yet.
Attackers recovered the bomb defuse. The attackers bomb defuse.
Oh, see you later, alligator stick. He'll be none the wiser for it either. 10 seconds left here, Raven. The flashes are going to come in. Oda's forced off the angle for a second. He'll re-peek and try and take the fight. It's an ambitious fight at that. Leb just makes it across the side. He'll re-peek Jacuzzi wall. It's Oda sitting down tight, and he will outplay Leb. Fortunately enough for Team Ferox, that round was steamrolling out of control, and they bring that back from a 3 versus 5 situation. Incredibly big from Oda in a moment where it could have gone either way.
Yeah, perfect position for Oda to play because that Banshee was protecting his position, so Leb couldn't quick swing on that or anything. Great play, honestly. And again, just Rhythm hanging on to some of these rounds. I mean, it's been close, but Ferox just pulling through constantly.
The attackers bomb diffuser had.
You really love to see the landmine, don't you?
Stick would not have known what hit him.
Nope, not a clue. Not a clue. And now, Team Ferox, this is their chance to charge away with it. We will see the clash come out. So, potentially this might be to deny, well, not so much deny, but to make their lives more difficult if they do open CCTV. And, well, clash is just generally a pain in the backside.
Yes, definitely gonna be a pain in the backside. It is Sushi that's playing it too. I'm not sure I've really seen him play a whole lot of Clash, to be honest, but we'll see how they play it. Maybe they're gonna try and use it to harass around in CCTV. Right now he's hanging out in storage, but wouldn't expect he'll stay there long. Probably just hunting for drones.
Well, we were saying at the start of the game that Shade was going to be one of their win conditions, and going, if left unchecked, he could do some serious damage. And I think that he's kind of proven that fact, sitting at 10-4. Not just that, but all of the cheeky plays he's been able to make so far. We can't dismiss Nazgul's performance either. He's stepped up for Team Ferox. And now Rhythm, they need their saving grace. They need their Hail Mary. The shots from underneath will take boats low. Won't secure the kill, but Shade's still with a lot left to do here.
Yeah, he's just gonna impact trick off those charges. Just Ferox have answers for a lot of stuff that Rhythm are not ready for right now. It's been a whole minute, and it's been quite the struggle to get this progress in Garage.
I think that is all of the ex-Kairos. Well, that is an issue for Rhythm. So not only do they have the line that can generally be held up to the window of CCTV, but they're also have no entrance apart from the chokehold of the doorway into Garage. Oof, that's a play and a half from Ferox between Shade with the tricking, obviously the impact tricking, and Oda on that Kaid worked hand in hand.
Sushi is generally harassing around that CCTV wall. Nazgul trying to get aggressive down Cash stairs and towards Lounge, but not to be. Shade's been taken down. Not finished yet, though. Potentially could be saved. Just so much time getting burnt off. He is finally finished. But Rhythm are just not leaving themselves with a whole lot of time to be able to really get much done.
Maybe false hope, you would say, as it does look like they're in a great position, but there's still, as you said, so much to be done. They've got to try and flush Oda out here. And potentially that might come in the form of Leb. That was nearly a free kill. Novax goes down. How is Oda still alive right now? He's looking for more, but Leb this time will dismantle him. 25 seconds left, Raisin. Sushi on the clash, so potentially there's still enough here for Ferox.
See what they can do. 15 seconds, they push deep. Sushi has been concussed, but that shield still up and in the way. They try and use these concussions, but it's not pushing him back enough. Nazgul gets one as Leb is just going to try and stick this plant in the smoke, but the team kill and all Manic. It is falling apart for Rhythm as Ferox gets that round.
Oh, that's got to be so tilting for Rhythm. And it really, I think you said it, you summed it up perfectly. It really feels like Ferox just has an answer for everything that is going on right now. It seems like they just know what they want to do, and they're completely shutting Rhythm out of the game. And team kills don't help either, but, you know, I think that at that point, the nail was in the coffin. Back down to Church. Well, not back down, actually. I believe this is the first time we're seeing it. Yeah.
For Ferox, yeah, first time.
Because we saw Jim first, that's right. And Sushi will be confident enough to go back on the clash.
Yeah, I think it worked quite well for them. He got lots of info, was quite a pain, especially towards the end of the round. And definitely be helpful for Church pushes. So let's see whether that's how they are planning to play it, but it's hard to look past the fact that Ferox are just looking strong, and they haven't lost a defense. They look great in their attacks. Like I was saying before, Manic, I think if Rhythm were the ones that were rotating to defense in the second half, I would have potentially felt a comeback was on. But right now, it just does not feel possible.
Nope. No, they've got 1 foot in the grave, Rhythm, and Ferox. They dug that grave for them. 6 foot of it.
Yep.
They set it up in the first half, and you would even say that Rhythm were fortunate enough to get the rounds that they did with the way Ferox were playing. So for now, it is going to come down to this for Rhythm. This could potentially be I don't want to say a season ender, but when you look at the teams they're coming up against, LFO, Noble, and Knights, and you could imagine if they don't take points off Ferox, it's going to be even more difficult to take rounds off, or rather a map off LFO, and then it only gets harder from there. So this is really such an important game, and we've seen crazier things, Raven, and I want to sell something crazier than what we could possibly imagine. Rhythm just do not look like they've got it in them tonight.
No, definitely not at all close to. Oh my god, that wallbang from Stick.
See you later, mate.
Played. That was the info from that drone. Completely forgot what I was going to say, but that was a great aggressive clear from Rhythm.
Well, that's always a good thing when you do forget what you were about to say because of it. So, you know what? I can't really be mad at that. Sushi is going to slow that main push down drastically, and he will be able to move freely as they try to find a way to dismiss him. He was still playing, rather one playing at the bottom of main stairs. Potentially that line may have found something, but it's not to be. Shade. Well, that is really unfortunate because Leb on that soft breach, on that sledge, so many lines left unattended now for Rhythm.
I'm ready for you, bastard.
Yeah, really not good there. They have got this kitchen hatch open though, relatively uncontested. Those impacts are not at all used. That does help. Just under a minute to go though, they need to start getting some pressure onto site. This clash still looming and is really going to make it hard to push a lot of these different directions, whether he hangs around blue or church or even under the kitchen hatch drop.
How they deal with him, no one knows. He is everywhere, Sushi, right now. He's on a speed walking marathon. And no matter where he goes, it is going to be a pain in the backside. Boat's now making the attention across toward kitchen. Vaix as well. The problem with this, there's no soft breach really that they're going to be able to use. And as they try to come down, it is going to cause way too many issues. 10 seconds left as they push in. Sushi, he's got dirt all under control. All Ferox need to do is hold, but Stick, he is making his way in. He's giving them a chance to play this. Novax is on site. Boots takes down Shade. Drex shutting Oda. And Sushi, you couldn't imagine he's going to win this. Surely there's no chance here, Raven.
Well, stranger things have happened. As you said before, he is on the clash, so that's going to make it pretty tricky. And it's not going to happen. Stick closes it out. Honestly, I am amazed that Rhythm managed to pull that out. It looks like with only 10 seconds to go, they had very little control, but they made it work. So they're still alive here, Manic.
Still alive and kicking for as long as they can be. 6-3. Movements have been made. And Ferox, unfortunately, well, I think they'll be pretty disappointed that they weren't able to convert that round there, because it felt like they had everything they needed. And I'm not sure who it was that was crossing back to main stairs, but was that plant going down in church then?
Yep.
Upsetty spaghetti.
Little bit.
Defenders protect
So
your
let's
bomb.
see what they can do, because Ferox are going to repeat it. See whether they can straighten that defense up to win the map. Of course, they are at quite the gap here, so they can bleed a couple of rounds. Of course, you don't want to give your opponent momentum. See whether they can tighten these up. They're sticking the clash too. Guess they're happy with the effect that it's having.
Potentially just misplaced in the last 15 seconds of that round, but
10 seconds to
Rhythm
insertion.
can start to just, as you said, you know, take baby steps
5
here.
seconds left.
No need to get too far ahead of yourself. 3 rounds may seem like a short amount of time, but
And defuse a bomb.
it is by no means an easy feat. One thing I found interesting was obviously the Malusi of last round, potentially Oda, had the potential to impact trick that kitchen hatch and opted not to, so Whether or not that played any impact, rather impact at the end of the round, yet to be seen. But regardless, with Rhythm now starting to make a little bit more progress in this matchup, Ferox will want to be shutting this one down and ensuring that it does not go any further than the 3 rounds.
Sushi again, going to be playing around that main stairs as Clash nice and early. Did help them get that pick onto Leb because he had that info called over to Shade to say, hey, pick this, you'll get a kill. Worked out pretty well. It's burning a lot of time as well. With a minute played, they have not been able to progress even close to kitchen on main stairs. So definitely a lot slower than we saw from the Ferox attacks. And even slower than last round, I think. This feels like it's been more stalled out at least.
Mm. Now they'll start to make with haste. Leb obviously just needing to be careful of anyone watching that line to freeze up. And the Sushi on main stairs really just can do what he's done best so far and really just slow everything right down. He is going to be double pushed here. Just needs to be cautious of that free kill. If he backs away now, I think that's job well done in all honesty. They've baited out a C4. Impact not working to full effect either from Oda. He will be forced to back off the angle. And Rhythm have picked up the pace a little bit more here, Raven.
Yeah, the impact tricking really just not being effective or working at all with Kitchen. But the Clash has done a great job coming into this final minute. Things have picked up. Verticals being set out by Leb, which he wasn't able to do in that previous round due to his early death. And Oda caught sleeping at a long angle by Leb. In fact, sets Rhythm up, looking pretty good coming into the final part of the round.
Oh my word, make that 2, Raven. That is not good for Ferox at all. And Rhythm may just back off this, rather move off the back of this, gain the momentum in this round and continue to push on. Will that nade catch anything? I don't think it's going to get close to him, not just yet, but they do dock 2 down hatches and they're being held by Todd. Novax, he's not making short work of it though. Shade in dirt, he could play a massive effect here as Todd catches out Drex back into a 2 versus 3. They can't deny the plant, not just yet. And wow, Stick, he holds the tight angle, he gives them the chance. And in a 2 versus 1, Todd, I don't know whether you have it in you. There is so much to do and so little HP left.
HP is definitely a good point there. Stick also tags pretty low. And Todd even lower now, literally 1 HP. Hits the shot though, going for the ace. This is to win the map. Leb holding very patiently in the freezer. Todd going into the defuse. Will he get it, Manic?
Or Leb trying to get him off. This should be a free kill. Todd, no, not like this. Team Ferox, they win it on the back of a clutch.
Oh my gosh.
How's he done it?
I think they are going to be kicking themselves after that. Leb just not able to find the angle with the shelving. Todd finding just the right angle on the quad. Oh, unbelievable. I mean, well deserved for Ferox. That last round was a bit of a steal.
I mean, regardless of how it finishes, that was the way it was inclined to go almost from the first round, Raven. Ferox have proven well and truly that they do not deserve that bottom 2 placing. 7-3. What a performance. Jeez, we've had some very strange matches tonight. Ones that we thought were going to be incredibly close and, to be fair, have been anything but so far, Raven. Wow.
Look, I think I'm not too shocked at the result after like how most of those rounds played out. It's just that the way that last round ended has me just so mind blown. I thought that Rhythm had that round in the bag. I was getting ready to say, "Oh, come back on Rob. We might be seeing overtime," and then it just fell apart. But well played from Todd.
I can't believe that happened. What? 1 HP, if you will, 5 HP, however you want to put it. That was absolutely ridiculous. 1, to find the first kill, and 2, to stick it. I don't really want to, loom on that round too much because I think that's a throwaway for Rhythm at the end of the day. And unfortunate that the game does end on that because obviously it's a little bit of a sour note, a sour taste that they will leave in their mouth. But you do have to say that Ferox were just so strong.
They were. Look, they had control of that entire map. Rhythm hanging in there by a thread for a lot of those rounds, but more often than not, it just felt like Ferox were too strong. Their attacks were quick, punchy, aggressive. They got control very quickly. There's a lot to like about the way that Ferox played the map tonight.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, you know what? We'll get to hear from Sushi. We'll get to hear from Team Ferox and see how they felt that map went, because we thought it was an absolute dominant performance. Sushi, welcome once again. I don't really have a lot to say because it was just so dominant. Did you expect that that was going to happen, or was this kind of you guys realistically just getting out on top early?
Okay, well, Rhythm are like, they've kind of rebuilt as a roster, so don't really know what I was expecting going into that series. But realistically, I always thought we were going to win, just because we have more experience on our roster, and obviously a lot of talent. Like Naz and Todd went huge that map, so you know I was pretty confident that we were going to win. So not surprised at all.
Yeah, look, you guys have also, you talk about rebuilding. I mean, you guys have kind of had a few big roster changes yourselves. It's been a good season for you so far. You've only got 3 matches left to go. Are there any particular of those matches that feel like they are the danger opponents that you'll have before the season's over?
Personally, I don't think we're gonna, like, we could still lose a few like maps here and there, especially wildcard. They're really strong right now, so we'll just have to be playing our best. But the teams we have left, I'm pretty confident to actually beat all of them. So, no.
No, for sure. I think that, to be honest, you guys have you've exceeded the expectations of the panel that we had. Obviously, at the start of the season, we were with the unfortunate side to try and predict what was going to happen. And to be fair, you guys have stepped up massively, and I think that is in large credit to how much work you guys have put in. So I just want to say congratulations. I think that should almost be you guys out of relegation. So honestly, I think it's a great chance to celebrate, and we look forward to seeing the rest of the season for you guys.
Thank you. You know, it's always nice to have some support, even though people like Guz continuously doubt us. But I'm not really surprised. He doesn't know much about the game, so what can you do? So,
Bans.
you know,
Absolute bans.
So, you know,
I can't wait for the Discord messages to come through.
Yeah.
I love it, Sushi. Thank you very much for joining us, mate. We look forward to the rest of the season for you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the cast.
Ciao. You hear that, Guz? Yeah.
Just waiting to hear the pings in my headphones.
I know, seriously. Yeah, once the delay is gone, it's all over, Red Rover. That's a great interview. Thank you so much for that, Sushi. But to be fair, they were very confident, and I think that when you do go into a matchup believing that is your right to take a map like that, I don't think there's really many ways for it left to go, Raven.
Yeah, look, it's a big mindset thing. Is when you're that confident, you feel like it is definitely your game. You're not teetering too much on that. It's hard to stop, and they're playing really well. Like, they've beaten some good opponents now. They played pretty exceptionally against the Knights. So, look, I think they could potentially even beat Wildcard. I know that might sound a bit edgy, but Wildcard, I don't know. I feel like they still haven't convinced me with their form and their current situation. So, yeah, look, I think Ferox are doing pretty well.
I really think we could see a surge from them. In all honesty, you know, when he said, we don't really see ourselves losing any of these matches, I'm like Elevate, Wildcard, LFO. I don't know, these seem like pretty good teams, but when you look purely at the results Ferox have had, unbelievable for the first half of this season, and there's no reason why we should not doubt them should doubt them for the remainder. So let's move across to maybe a little bit more of a somber note, Raven. Rhythm's performance, this could potentially bury their own hole, if you will.
Yes, it's a tough spot. Same as we were talking about with LFO earlier. They're winless, so they have to be perfect for the rest of the season just to be able to stay alive in playoffs and not in the relegation tournament. One of their opponents is LFO, so I guess we could straight up say one of them is going to be stuck in bottom 2.
Yeah, that's and I mean, I think Xenox was saying, sorry, Xenox, I just forgot for half a second. I had a brain fart, if you will. You were saying, you know, that LFO were looking like potentially that you know, the teetering line of relegation and promotion, and very well could be at this point. It is coming to the part of the season where it is crunch time. There's 3 matches left for pretty much every team, bar, of course, Wildcard and Elevate that are up next. But it really does come down to the wire, and Rhythm after this performance, I think, you know, they had a lot of hype going into this and we were all feeling a little bit more confident, but to come out like this, I think they'll be disappointed.
Absolutely. They honestly will be. With Rhythm as well, I mean, it's hard to say because of their roster changes and the way that Six Masters turned out, what to have expected of them. And I think, unfortunately for them, they really are probably still in that bottom 2. But I also felt like they didn't really play to what we've expected or seen from them a lot in this season. Like against Elevate and Wildcard, they performed great. And those teams are 2 teams that are, you know, placing quietly at the moment in the top 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm maybe just thinking that it might have been a bit of an off night for them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that we've still got 3 matches to go for them, and we can still hold on to hope, but it is starting to dwindle. Time is starting to escape us, just like it is tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we don't have the interview ready with Rhythm, so we are going to come back from a short break, and on the other side, the last matchup of the night, Wildcard and Elevate. See you then.